I do think that it is true that that certain newspapers or, certain parts of our culture favor maybe the archetypical white male. I have learned in the past year, more so than even in the past 25 years that preceded it, that to engage in those kinds of arguments for myself is a no-win proposition. That it is absolutely true that the New York Times will review white men or men of color much more so than they will review certain women. But if I engage in that battle, and I respect the women who do, and I know that I owe a lot of what, some of my success to those kinds of barriers being let down. But once I start looking outside the work and looking at how it's marketed and who's buying it and who's reviewing it and what they're saying about it, that is only going to hurt the next couple of years in what I'm writing. Like, I have lived for, the past 20 years of my career with the fact that my most natural voice is funny, it skews feminine, and I know that I have not been reviewed by the New York Times Book Review or the Washington Post. I find it hard to believe that the books that I write are less literary, but like I said, to engage in that fight as opposed to engage in the fight that I have with the text itself is just going to throw me off. And so, I'm very supportive of say, Jennifer Weiner and Jodi Picoult and Meg Wolitzer, and I believe very strongly that there should be parity and there should be equality. But I don't know if I'm qualified to fight those arguments because I'm only half interested in them. I'm interested in them in how they bear down on my work and how I can make myself a better writer. But I don't know if pushing for more time or pushing for more space or pushing for more review coverage, I don't know if that's my job. Because I can't, to try to engage in both, in being a better writer and also in being reviewed in better places, that takes too much of my energy and time. And I can only fight with myself knowing that, it really sucks that here I wrote a book that has all the themes of great literature. It has the capriciousness of fate, it has a fall from grace, it has love and betrayal, it has, nature, and yet, because of the way that I'm telling the story, it's skewed much more toward women's fiction and chick lit, and the irony is that the audiences that read those types of novels find with my book that it's too graphic, it's too it's not as sweet and innocent, if you will, or genre driven or as those books, but by the same token it's not literary enough for others. So I know that I'm sort of a hybrid, but I also know that I can't worry really about that. Like my next book, I would hope that this is the one that's going to elevate me outside of the vagina ghetto. That this is the one that's going to, say, oh, well, she writes fiction, not necessarily women's fiction. But to come to it with that goal is not the way that I'm going to be able to write a book.
Right.